I wanted to give an unfiltered kind of thing about what I did to get to the point where I got like 2 million streams on Spotify, and how people found my page, my YouTube, my music. And I don't have like a lot of people in the fan base, but I think it's a good indicator that it's on the right track. And so here are the 10 content ideas I had to be able to get to this point. Number one was my year of ideas. So I actually took a book just like this and I put ideas in this book for a year. Ideas for content, ideas for experimenting on how to have people find music, YouTube, things I was interested in. And it gives me a big range of things to actually look for when I want to make a video or I want to make, you know, a TikTok for my music for people to find it. It lets me experiment with a lot of different content ideas, and then I can figure out what sticks based on what comes out. And I actually put like little check marks and stuff next to the ideas that I figure out that I do or I like. If I do them multiple times, and I put multiple check marks so I know when I'm like reusing the same idea a lot, so that I can get out of that comfort zone and spend some time on other ideas. And I can come back to a good one if I know that it landed. And typically how I can tell it landed is by metrics, by people responding, and just by the quality of it, how much I like it. It tells me that I did a good job on that. So I have my year's worth of ideas, and it doesn't have to be a year for you, but if you write ideas in a book or in your notepad, you have something to experiment with. So that's number one. Number two is playing around with like the low budget or like a realistic budget for like setup and how you make music or however you're making whatever you're making, because not everyone can afford to have a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 studio. And I thrive in having a $500 to $1,000 studio. My setup is $500 and I'm totally proud of that. So it's something I get to talk about because people can relate to that. People can relate to having not the biggest budget, and they can use their own like setup to figure out how to create in the way that you do. If they like it, they are able to, you know, go after that thing that they thought was unattainable, so you make it more relatable. That's the second one. Third kind of plays off of that, going off of a realistic setup, realistic kind of lifestyle, and also showing like the other parts of my life besides music, like my job, like the things I like to do, hobbies and interests I have, because it opens up more than just music. It opens up how you are as a person and the things that you like to do, because people can relate to that. People can talk to you about it. Right now, I'm learning a few languages. I'm trying to keep myself kind of educated on that, and also, you know, taking some certifications for IT and everything else. So it's other things that people can relate to looking at my content, besides just constantly seeing people plug their music, because I want people to find my music, yes, but also I know personally as an audience member, I think about what it would be like if someone was looking at my page, and if they just constantly see you like plugging your music, it's like, okay, we've heard that song a bunch of times. So a lot of times I like to mix up the songs. I don't keep the same songs. I go through like my discography so that people can hear more of it instead of like landing on the same 3 TikToks of the same 3 songs, so that they can see more of your catalog. And then they might find something that relates to them and that they really like. So that's number 3. Number 4 is my idea for one video every day, where I was like consistently making a video every day for a year. This is actually day 151 of me making a video every day and posting it that same day. So I usually make the video in the morning or in the evening, and then I post it that same day. And it's been a way to increase my consistency, because a lot of times if you're inconsistent with how much you're actually putting out content and videos and music and everything else, then people forget, because our attention spans are not as good as they once were. And that's something that we just have to deal with. But I do find that if you're consistently posting and it's quality and you have the ideas and you have something there, then you can expose it to the luck of the algorithm, right? Of what that one video or that one song or that one, you know, whatever you're working on, kind of catching on and people liking it. So doing the one video every day challenge has made it so that I can be more consistent and have people find my stuff. So it's like a win-win for me. So that's the 4th one. Now, you don't have to do a video every day, but you can do it pretty frequently. Just a set that helps people figure out that if they go to your page, you'll have something there for them. Number 5 is my idea on like minimalism, because as someone who works in tech and works with a lot of tech, I actually don't use tech as much as I think like most people do. And so like talking more about the opposite side and appealing to the things that are personal to me is actually something that I find people can relate to, especially with like making music on a computer and everything. People think that I use it a lot, but I actually don't. So I like to talk about other ways to think and other ways to create, and just like with my ADHD and like how my brain works, talking about other ways to kind of take in information and learn and grow as a person, because not everyone feels the same way about things. And so that gives someone a kind of viewpoint on that. The sixth one is speaking on what makes me different, what makes my music different. And I actually like make lists on that. I'll like sit there and I'll create a list. That was not the light. But I'll sit there and I'll create a list and I'll be like, hey, you know, what is the thing that makes my music different? What's the thing that makes me stand out? What's the thing that people actually like? And that I put that all kind of together, and I figure out like what genre I fit in, where, like what my audience is, and I kind of focus everything on that so that I can figure out what my brand is and what makes me stand out from others. And then it makes it easier for me to actually say like, oh yeah, this is the thing that makes me stand out, and this is the content that I can put out because of that. For me, I make electronic music, but it's not very hard electronic music. It's actually like soft electronic music. And I've kind of figured out that people like stuff like that, and I figure out what they use it in, what they like to listen to it as, like if they like to study with it, if they like to do this, and then I cater my content to that if I'm on TikTok or something like that. On the same vein, I tend to, like for number 7, I'll have like my attitude on creativity and how I handle things. I don't see creativity as like a set formula. I think it's very subjective, and it's something I like to talk about on this channel, and that's something that other people agree with, because again, they feel like it's not attainable if they don't do things a certain way, because everybody puts out these guides on being like technical or how to do something, and they make it like it's the only way, but there's not the only way. There's multiple ways, thousands of ways to make art and music and everything else. And so that's kind of my attitude on it, and I talk about that on this channel and in general, because everybody's different and everybody likes to do things differently, and that's the thing that makes art fun. So that's number 7. Another one I do is for like how I made, or behind the scenes, like how to make a song, because a lot of people don't realize how they are made, and everybody has different processes. And so I can talk about how I made the song and how I'm making it with like the budget set up, and they all kind of interweave each other, right? Because earlier in like option 2, I was talking about like low budget and it being realistic, and a lot of the way I write songs is very realistic. I mean, I use my phone, I use like my laptop, and like I'll record that way, and then I upload it to my computer, and then I work on it from there. And so it shows kind of like the process and how a realistic setup would be to make that song. And so that's kind of another one that I go with to be able to create just my music. My content ideas can base around my music and the world that I build with that. And that actually weaves into like the branding and stuff of how mine is any different. And so you can talk about how it's different, but you can also show people. If you have a catalog of music or art or whatever you're working on, you can show what makes that different. And that really brings it all together, because what makes you different tells people how your music and art is different than what they've seen before, right? Then they have the year of ideas to kind of put that content out there for your music. You can talk about it being low budget or realistic. You can make the videos every day and show a different part of you so that people understand your personality as well, because they don't want to just hear your music, they want to see your personality. You can do like a unscripted like kind of videos behind the scenes and show people that, and it makes it more fun. And then your attitude on creativity and how you get to that point. People like to hear the background and the backstory of what you do before you get to your videos, before you get to your music, before you get to your art, right? So that's like encapsulates everything. And then my last content idea is like unscripted and old school videos. A lot of times people are used to these like edited, very produced videos, and I think a lot of us miss that nostalgic of the old school YouTube type of vibe. More unscripted, more off the dome, off the cuff, and a little less kind of cuts and stuff going on. I think that makes it interesting, because a lot of people, it can be overwhelming. And so if that's like more of your brand, it's kind of understandable. But for me, it's not, because my music is not like a lot of cuts and jumps and different, and I wouldn't make my videos that way. I would want to make it like how my brand is. So that's my 10 content ideas, and that's the things that I've used to get to this point and help people find my music and find my videos and do all that fun stuff. And so day 151 has been awesome. I've been kind of excited to put out another video, and like sometimes you get into a lull. The only thing with like making the year of ideas and the one video every day is that you can feel like sometimes you get into this lull, or like this thing where you don't really know what you want to talk about, or like something doesn't feel right. You'll start a video and you're like, oh man, I have to, you know, maybe change it. I don't know if I want to put that out. But that makes it fun. That makes it interesting, and that makes it so that people like what you're doing. And I think like that's the stuff that makes it fun to be able to upload these every day, and it's been awesome. So yeah, that's the 10 things that I do, and I am going to continue doing that by continuing to make a video every day, continuing to experiment, and possibly putting out more content ideas in the future. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow.